War has broken out in the Mushroom Kingdom. The heroes of Mario Kart 64 are rushing to the front lines after encountering heavy enemy resistance from Diddy Kong Racing. Our brave boys are racing to defend their title as the best kart racing game for the Nintendo 64. Even Little Toad is doing his part. Isn't that right, Toad? But do they have the moxie to crumple the chaotic Kong clan? Are they really and truly the best there is? Or should Diddy Kong Racing hold that title? Stay tuned to find out.
Welcome to Video Game Versus. I'm Jet Wee.
And I'm Bruce Wee.
And if you're watching this episode, then congratulations! You're watching the very first episode on our Video Game Versus channel. It's kinda like watching our birth. Our beautiful, bloody birth.
We're going to be taking a look at the two best kart racing games for the Nintendo 64. We'll compare them in 7 different categories. The best game is the one that wins in the most categories.
So, let's take a look at today's contenders.
Welcome to Mario Kart!
Mario Kart 64, the second installment in the Mario Kart series by our third parent, Nintendo, is a game that feels like it's made out of pure nostalgia. Its easy to learn controls, along with everybody's favorite characters, made this racing game a favorite for college dorm rooms and family living rooms alike. With 4 cups, 8 playable characters, 16 different levels, and a huge variety of item pickups, it's no wonder why Mario Kart 64 was the second best-selling game for the N64.
Okay, while they did make some really fantastic games for the SNES like Donkey Kong Country, the N64 era is where they really descended from their earned place in heaven to bestow such beautiful, wonderful, and spiritual gifts to us unworthy mortals, and among them was a beautiful kart racing game that we only knew as Diddy Kong Racing.
Probably because, that's the name they gave it. Whammo! This game was stocked to the brim with kart racing goodies. It had 5 Grand Prix, oodles of unlockables, new characters, nude characters, red characters, blue characters. Oh! This game had it all! And most important of all, it had a crack-selling Indian elephant.
To you.
Okay, so this one's pretty obvious. Mario Kart used the 2D sprite models on 3D environments. And while this didn't look bad in the late 90s, there's really no way it can compete with Diddy Kong Racing's fully 3D environments and character models. Now, graphics may not be everything, but it's certainly a category that can't be overlooked when deciding these kinds of things. So that's a point for Diddy Kong.
The answer to this one is pretty clear too, but this time in favor of Mario Kart. I mean, it really had everyone's favorite characters. Mario is literally the face of gaming, and everyone else on the roster either has their own game or is a main character in one of Mario's. Speaking of which, Mario Kart 64 is one of the first games where you can play as the bad guy. I remember my mind was blown when I saw I could be Bowser, but Diddy Kong Racing? Even the most famous character in the game plays second banana to Donkey Kong, who in turn is usually a side character in Mario's games. Yeah, Banjo is there, but this was before he was famous. I mean, this was before he was even done rendering. Look at that. They forgot to give him a soul. And he speaks.
I'm Banjo!
What's going on? He's not supposed to do that. Now, Rare was smart, and they knew they couldn't compete with the characters from Mario Kart, so they used Diddy Kong Racing to introduce us to new characters, and they planned on making games for each one of them. Of course, they only managed to make games for Banjo and Conker. Unfortunately for Diddy Kong Racing, almost none of their characters were very famous, and most of them were never even heard from again. I'm looking at you, Pipsy. Point goes to Mario Kart.
I got you!
Like we said before, Diddy Kong's graphics are a little bit better than Mario Kart's, but while they may look better, that doesn't necessarily mean the courses themselves are better. However, Diddy Kong Racing also has a few more courses than Mario Kart, so that's another plus for them. Each Mario Kart course is unique. From Frappe Snowland to Rainbow Road, every course is instantly recognizable and easily distinguishable from its counterparts. Diddy Kong's courses are not so clearly defined. Now this was on purpose because while each level in Mario Kart is meant to stand alone, Diddy Kong Racing's levels were meant to come in groups of 4, each theme to be a part of the overarching theme of the world. But still, what's the name of this course? Is this Whale Bay or Pirate Lagoon? I can't really tell. Are they even that different? Mario Kart's courses, on the other hand, not only look different, but each has a unique quality that affects the gameplay. We're not talking about a twist and turn here or there or different scenery. We're talking about the traffic on Toad's Turnpike, the incoming and outgoing tide on Koopa Beach, racing to beat the train in Calamari Desert, or the giant spinning egg and mystery race order in Yoshi's Valley. Every single course has its own unique factor that none of the other tracks have. Probably one of the coolest Easter eggs in the game is Royal Raceway. Off to the side of the track you can find Peach's castle appearing just how it looked in Mario 64. Both games have a special mode where you can play through all the levels in reverse. Since they both have it, neither gets the advantage here, but remember Toad's Turnpike? You thought racing with the traffic was hard? Trying to race against it was terrifying and sometimes impossible. In the end, we've got to give the point to Mario Kart. While both games have excellent courses, the unique level design in Mario Kart is just enough to give it the edge over Diddy Kong.
This one was hard. Both games have really good music. Rareware is known for creating games with some of the best musical scores ever. Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, and Conker's Bad Fur Day are all great examples. Diddy Kong Racing is no different, and some of those racing tunes will stick in your head long after you stop playing. However, Diddy Kong's racing tunes, while catchy, don't always have anything to do with the course they're paired with. They almost seem to call attention to themselves without regard to the course they're paired with. Take for example Fossil Canyon in Diddy Kong Racing. Sure, the music is catchy, but what does it have to do with the dinosaur theme of the track? No caveman drums or dinosaur roars or anything, just a catchy tune. It's almost like you're playing a game with no music, and there's a band in the same room as you playing a song. Now look at Mario Kart's Calamari Desert. The music is a lot quieter and less complex. Fossil Canyon's tune is certainly a lot catchier, but it's not about which song is catchier, it's about which song adds to the course. Mario Kart's music always seemed to add a feel to the levels, like the music and course really fit together hand in hand. You don't really notice the background music that much, and that's the point. The music made you feel like you were there. On top of this, Mario Kart has two really good songs that even the catchiest Diddy Kong tune can't compete with. The first is the ending credits tune. It's a good feeling listening to this music while looking back over the courses you beat. The other great Mario Kart song was in Rainbow Road. Something about this song just felt out of this world. Mario Kart doesn't have a story, so it's definitely not going to win this category. I always wished it did have some kind of story mode. It might help explain a few things, like why Bowser is racing around in his go-kart instead of trying to kill everyone, or at least take their star. Diddy Kong Racing does have a story. In fact, it has a lot more than that. An entire island overworld, along with boss races and a creepy blue elephant genie that I never quite trusted. Oh, and you can't forget the main boss of the game, a giant wizard pig. It's definitely not the greatest story ever told, but it is a story, and it at least provides an explanation as to why these characters are racing. Point goes to Diddy Kong.
The gameplay aspect is where the two games have some of the most prominent differences. For starters, the item system is drastically different. In Mario Kart, you drive over the item pickups and it will give you an item that is randomly selected based on your current position in the race. These items will range from triple shells to bananas and lightning and blue shells. Now this is a fun system and it works well for the game, but there's not really any other strategy other than picking up the right item to use at the right time. How much of a jerk you want to be with the lightning on Wario's Raceway. Brian, I hate you! In Diddy Kong Racing, the item system is much different. You still have to drive over the pickups, but now there's actually strategy. Each item type is stored in a different colored balloon, like red balloons for missiles, blue for turbo, greens for obstruction items, and those other ones that you never bothered to get. Now each time you pick up an item, you can pick up the same color up to 3 times to increase its power. So if you have 2 boosts build up, you might want to dodge that red balloon on purpose to get the 3rd boost that will greatly increase your turbo. There's some strategy and planning to this item system. There is also some inconsistency to Mario's items, like banana peels. In Diddy Kong Racing, the oil slicks would just make you slide off the course and lose a little speed. In Mario Kart, you have no idea what will happen when you hit a banana. Sometimes you slide off the course and lose a little speed, but other times it will just make you randomly stop completely, spin out, and lose all of your forward momentum. Along with the whole strategy thing, there are bananas littered around Diddy Kong's tracks that will slightly increase your max speed when you collect them. You may sometimes want to miss that balloon to grab a string of bananas that'll help you out in the long run. But in Mario Kart, the computers have this weird rubber band ability. So even when you use a golden mushroom, the computers will sometimes inexplicably catch you, then pass you. Doesn't make any sense! One more advantage that Diddy Kong has is its multiple vehicles. You can tackle a course in 3 separate ways, which make for a fun and unique race every time you come back to the course. The gameplay point goes to Diddy Kong.
We're in the final category and we're all tied up. The winner of the multiplayer option is today's winner. Now this category is a little odd to compare since both of these games are built on being multiplayers. Both games can support 1 to 4 racers on the same screen, and both games offer all 4 players, either single races or Grand Prix. Both games also have modes other than racing, and this is where their differences start to show. Mario Kart only has Battle Mode as its other multiplayer option. Diddy Kong Racing not only has Battle Mode, but also a Scavenger Mode and an egg collecting game, which is really the funnest thing to play if you're not racing. Diddy just offers more options than Mario Kart. The final point goes to Diddy.
So the match is over, and Diddy Kong is today's winner. Now, before you hunt us down, remember we're not saying Mario Kart 64 is a bad game. In fact, it's one of our favorite games of all time. If you're just looking for a game to pick up and play a few rounds with your friends, Mario Kart's the better option.
But, and this is a big but, Diddy Kong will last you longer. It's got everything Mario Kart has and a lot more. Its story mode, boss races, coin challenges, and extra multiplayer options will keep you racing a lot longer than you could with Mario Kart 64. So basically, if you're going to prison and they'll only let you take 1 racing game, take Diddy Kong. Hey Bruce, this was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah!
We should do a lot more of these.
Yeah, you're right, Jet. The more likes and subscribers we get, the faster we can send these bad boys out.
I like the way this man thinks.
Plus, we can do Let's Plays and game reviews in the future too, huh?
Hey, good idea, but what should our next video game versus matchup be?
Yeah, I don't know, but let's ask these people, see if they got any great ideas for the show. Tell us what we should do in the comments and we'll make you a star, you get me?